All right, welcome to another deep dive. This time, we're tackling a story that's practically woven into our cultural DNA, David and Goliath.
It really is one of those stories that almost everyone knows, at least some version of.
Right,
Yeah.
giant shepherd epic showdown.
A real classic.
Exactly. But we're going beyond the Sunday school version here.
Oh, for sure.
We've got articles, biblical analysis.
Even some insights from Malcolm Gladwell.
Yeah, to uncover the layers of meaning behind this iconic clash.
What I find so fascinating is how the story resonates on so many levels.
Absolutely.
It's not just a historical account,
Right.
It's a theological exploration of faith, courage,
Yeah.
the nature of power itself.
It's a really profound story when you start to unpack it.
It really is.
And even though it's, this ancient tale,
Thousands of years old.
yeah, it still speaks volumes to us today.
Definitely.
Okay, so everyone thinks they know the story, right?
Right.
Little David takes down the mighty Goliath,
The underdog wins.
proves that even the underdog can triumph.
Classic tale of faith and courage.
He really is. But get this, did you know there's actually debate about whether David was actually the one who killed Goliath?
Oh, yeah. There's some debate there.
Really?
Well, yeah. It's fascinating how these ancient texts
Wow.
can still spark debate centuries later.
Yeah.
If we look at 2 Samuel 21.19,
Okay.
Goliath's death is attributed to a guy named Elhanan.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Talk about a plot twist, right?
So was David just a PR stunt?
Well, some scholars think so.
Really?
They believe that David's victory might have been embellished later to kind of bolster his image as this legendary king.
I see.
But there's pushback to that.
Okay.
Other scholars, like David Wolfers,
Mhm.
he argues that Goliath, the presence in the Bible, wouldn't make much sense without David's victory.
Right.
Elhanan appears much later in the narrative, so the timeline gets a bit fuzzy.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
So it's a biblical mystery.
it really is.
Are there any clues that could help us crack this case wide open?
Well, there's some interestingly... Okay.
Both Ozelins and Heiser, they suggest a potential scribal error. Apparently, the ancient Hebrew words for brother of and a certain grammatical marker are incredibly similar.
Wow.
Like they differ by just one letter.
Oh, wow.
So it's possible that Elhanan actually killed Goliath's brother, but this tiny little copying mistake changed the entire meaning.
Wow. Talk about the butterfly effect. A single letter could rewrite history.
Right. It's huge.
How significant is this difference?
It's incredibly significant. It changes the entire subject of the sentence.
Really?
So if it's a grammatical marker, Elhanan killed Goliath.
Okay.
But if it's translated as brother of, he killed Goliath's brother.
Wow.
So imagine the implications for how we understand the text.
That's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
So where does this leave us with David?
Well, he might be off the hook.
Really?
While these alternative theories are definitely thought-provoking,
Sure.
the evidence seems to point to David as the more likely Goliath slayer.
Okay. But this brings us to another intriguing question.
Okay, let's hear it.
Was David really the underdog we've always pictured him to be?
All right, time to put on my skeptic's hat here.
Let's do it.
Even if David did defeat Goliath,
Right.
wasn't that sling a bit more than just a child's toy?
You're hitting on a crucial point.
I mean, those things can pack a punch.
They really can.
Yeah.
Malcolm Gladwell, in his book David and Goliath, he argues that the sling was actually a formidable weapon in ancient warfare.
Interesting.
We're not talking about playground antics here.
Right, right.
Skilled slingers could take down enemies from afar,
Wow.
often aiming for the head.
So David was more like a biblical sharpshooter.
You could say that.
That definitely changes the picture.
It really does.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Okay.
Imagine a quarter-pound stone
Oh, wow.
hurtling through the air
Yeah.
at almost 200 miles per hour.
That's incredible.
That kind of force could easily shatter bone. So Gladwell suggests that David might have actually had the tactical advantage in this fight,
Really?
completely flipping the underdog narrative on its head.
Whoa, that's a game changer.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see why this story has resonated for centuries.
Yeah, for sure.
But it feels like there's even more to uncover here, right?
Absolutely. We've only just scratched the surface.
Okay, well, let's keep digging.
What makes these biblical stories so captivating is that they operate on multiple levels of meaning.
I love a good hidden meaning.
Oh, yeah, there are layers here.
So what's the deeper message behind this epic showdown?
So let's delve into the theological dimension.
Okay.
Goliath's challenge wasn't just a military threat.
Right.
It was a direct assault on Israel's covenant with God.
Oh,
Remember David's words.
remind me.
Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God?
Oh,
This wasn't just a territorial dispute.
right.
This was a battle for the very soul of Israel.
Wow. So David was fighting for something much bigger than himself.
Absolutely.
His faith, his people,
He's God.
his God.
Yeah,
That adds a whole new level of depth to the story.
it really does.
Yeah.
And there are even more profound parallels.
Yeah.
Remember the story of Dagon, the Philistine god,
Hey,
falling before the Ark of the Covenant?
I have to admit,
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure who Dagon is.
Okay, so Dagon was the central god for the Philistines, representing their power, their strength,
Okay.
and the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah.
Symbolized God's presence and power among the Israelites.
Got it.
So when Dagon's statue topples before the Ark,
All right.
it foreshadows the ultimate victory of God's power over false idols.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So how does this connect to David and Goliath?
So this event echoes David's victory over Goliath.
Okay.
Just as Dagon fell before the Ark, Goliath, the champion of the Philistines,
Yeah.
falls before David, the champion of the one true God.
Powerful imagery.
It reinforces the idea that God's power triumphs over earthly strength,
Mhm.
and that those who trust in him will ultimately prevail.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm really seeing how these stories are woven together with deeper meaning.
Right. It's fascinating.
It makes you appreciate the richness and complexity of the Bible.
It really does.
Yeah.
And we can't overlook the symbolism of the beheading.
Right. That is a pretty intense part of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't merely a brutal act. It
Right.
was a profound statement of dominance over evil.
Interesting.
Scholar Medad Ritchie, she highlights how beheading represented the claiming of victory,
Okay.
a way of asserting God's power over the enemies of Israel.
This deep dive is already making me rethink how I understand these stories.
It's really something else when you dig deeper, isn't it?
It's not just about the action. It's about the deeper messages embedded within them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we've only scratched the surface.
Okay.
In the next part, we'll explore how this ancient story continues to resonate with us today,
Sounds good.
offering these timeless lessons about faith, courage,
Yeah.
the power of the seemingly insignificant.
I'm looking forward to it. Welcome back to our deep dive into the story of David and Goliath. Last time, we uncovered some surprising facts about this iconic tale.
We did,
Yeah, challenging some of our assumptions
for sure.
and revealing a deeper layer of theological symbolism.
Those layers are really fascinating.
Yeah, they are. I'm still thinking about that scribal error.
I know, right?
It's incredible how one letter could potentially change the whole meaning of a passage.
It really is.
But what's even more compelling to me
Yeah,
is how this ancient story still speaks to us today.
absolutely.
Why does this story of a shepherd facing a giant continue to have such power?
That's a great question, and it's something that's captivated theologians and scholars for centuries.
It really is an enduring story.
It is.
Yeah.
But part of the answer might lie in the story's multifaceted nature.
Okay,
It offers a lot of different interpretations, which can resonate with people from all walks of life,
I see.
and they each provide these unique insights into the human experience.
So it's like a prism,
Kind of.
refracting light into a spectrum of meaning.
Yeah, I like that analogy.
Okay.
Each facet just adds to the richness and complexity of the story.
Right.
For instance, at its core, David's victory embodies the power of overcoming adversity.
I like that.
It reminds us that even when faced with these seemingly insurmountable challenges,
Yeah,
we have the potential to triumph.
absolutely.
If we embrace courage,
Courage.
resourcefulness, and unwavering determination.
It's like that saying, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog.
I love that.
David exemplifies that kind of unyielding spirit.
Absolutely. He stood before this giant, armed with his faith and whatever tools were available to him.
Right?
And that message of resilience and courage in the face of adversity,
Yeah.
that's universally applicable.
It is.
No matter what Goliaths we encounter in our lives, whether it's a health crisis, a financial struggle, or a personal setback, David's story inspires us to never give up hope.
That's so important, that hope.
It is.
And speaking of hope,
Yes.
for many people, this story is deeply intertwined with the concept of faith.
Absolutely.
David's trust in God is absolutely central to his victory.
It's at the heart of it.
He didn't rely solely on his strength or weaponry,
Right.
but on this unwavering belief that God would deliver him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his words before the battle are incredibly powerful.
What were they again?
He said, "The Lord who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will rescue me from the hand of this Philistine.
Wow.
David's faith wasn't just a theoretical concept.
Right.
It was deeply rooted in his everyday life as a shepherd.
He lived it. It was the foundation of his being.
It really makes you reflect
On what?
on where we place our trust when we face difficult times.
That's a great point.
Are we relying on our own limited strength?
Right.
Or are we leaning on a power greater than ourselves?
It's a powerful reminder that true strength often comes from surrendering to a higher purpose and trusting in a plan beyond our immediate understanding.
Yeah, and this connects back to the idea of David as a symbol of Israel's faithfulness to their covenant with God.
Absolutely.
He was chosen not because he was the most skilled warrior,
Right.
but because of his unwavering devotion.
Yeah. And this brings us back to Malcolm Gladwell's perspective on the power of the underdog.
I love that idea.
He encourages us to challenge our preconceived notions
About
strength and weakness.
Okay.
What we perceive as a weakness can sometimes be our greatest asset.
That's interesting.
It is. It's like the idea of using your opponent's strength against them.
Oh, I see.
David's weakness, his youth, his lack of traditional armor might have given him an advantage because Goliath completely underestimated him.
Oh, totally.
Gladwell highlights how we tend to fixate on outward appearances of power and overlook these hidden strengths that often lie in unconventional thinking and approaches.
Right.
David's story encourages us to challenge our assumptions.
To think outside the box.
Yeah. And to seek those unexpected pathways to victory.
So it's not just about winning battles, is it?
No, it's not.
It has implications for how we approach all sorts of challenges in our lives.
Exactly.
Wow, that's powerful.
This deep dive into David and Goliath isn't just an exploration of ancient history or theological debate.
Right.
It's about finding inspiration and guidance for navigating our own journeys.
I like that.
It's about recognizing that we all encounter Goliath.
Yeah.
Those obstacles that make us question our abilities and shake our faith.
But this story offers a glimmer of hope.
It does.
Yeah.
It reminds us that with faith, courage, and a willingness to think outside the box, we can overcome those challenges.
Even when the odds seem stacked against us.
Exactly.
I'm definitely feeling inspired.
Me too.
This story reminds us that we're not alone in our struggles.
Absolutely.
And that even in the face of these seemingly insurmountable obstacles, there's always hope.
Always.
That's such a powerful message.
It is. It's a timeless tale that reminds us to never underestimate the power of the seemingly insignificant. A simple stone, a sling, and unwavering faith. These were the instruments that brought down a giant and shifted the course of history.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm definitely feeling inspired.
I'm glad.
This story reminds us that we're not alone in our struggles.
We're in this together.
And that even in the face of these seemingly insurmountable obstacles, there's always hope.
Always.
So what's next in this deep dive? Where do we go from here?
Oh, it really is. It leaves us with this lingering sense of possibility.
Of what?
Of the potential for greatness that resides within each of us.
I like that.
We've explored the historical debates.
Right.
The theological symbolism, the metaphorical interpretations.
So many different angles.
Yeah, but ultimately, the story of David and Goliath is an invitation.
A call to action.
It certainly is, but a call to do what?
Right.
To go out and literally fight giants. I'm not sure I'm up for that.
Me neither. But what kind of call to action are we talking about here?
It's a call to identify the Goliaths in our own lives.
Okay.
Those obstacles that loom large and make us feel afraid, powerless, or defeated.
I see.
What are those challenges that seem insurmountable? What are those situations that tempt us to doubt our own abilities or the power of faith?
That's a really thought-provoking way to frame it.
It really makes you think.
I suppose we all have our own giants to face.
Oh, absolutely.
Whether it's a personal struggle, a social injustice that we feel compelled to address, or even that nagging voice of self-doubt that keeps us from pursuing our dreams.
Exactly. And the story of David reminds us
of what?
That we don't have to face those giants alone.
That's an important reminder.
It is. Just as David relied on God's strength, we can draw upon a power greater than ourselves.
So how do we tap into that?
We can find strength through prayer, community, or simply a renewed commitment to our faith. The key is to remember that we're not fighting these battles solely in our own strength.
Right. We have support.
Exactly.
It's like we each have our own spiritual slingshots and stones, right?
Like that.
They might look different for everyone.
Sure.
But the principle is the same.
What's that?
We're not relying on brute force.
Right.
But on faith, strategy, and the courage to take action, even when we feel afraid.
And, the story also challenges us to be mindful of the slings and stones we might be using against others.
Oh, interesting point.
Are we wielding our words, actions, or positions of power in ways that intimidate, diminish, or harm?
Right.
Are we perhaps unintentionally playing the role of Goliath in someone else's story?
Whoa, that's a powerful question.
It really is.
It's easy to get caught up in our own struggles and forget that we might be the giant in someone else's experience.
It's easy to lose perspective.
It's a call to be more self-aware
Yeah,
and considerate of how our choices impact those around us.
absolutely.
Just as David's victory inspired the Israelites to overcome their fear and confront their enemies, our actions can have a ripple effect
They really can.
by choosing courage over fear,
Yes.
faith over doubt.
And compassion over judgment.
Yeah, we can create positive change in our own lives
Absolutely.
and inspire others to do the same.
This deep dive has been incredible.
It really has.
We've journeyed from biblical history
Yeah.
to personal reflection and even some soul searching along the way.
That's true.
Yeah,
I feel like I have a completely new understanding of this story
I'm so glad to hear that.
and what it means for me.
That's the important part.
Yeah, it is.
And I hope our conversation today has left you with some pebbles to ponder.
Okay.
What Goliaths are you facing in your own life? What are the slings and stones you've been equipped with?
Yeah.
And how can you use them to overcome those challenges? And maybe most importantly, how can you be a source of strength and encouragement for others who are facing their own giants?
Those are powerful questions that will definitely stay with me.
I hope so.
This deep dive has given me a much richer perspective than any simple Pebble Power sermon.
I agree. While simplified interpretations can be catchy,
Yeah.
the true beauty of Scripture lies in its depth and complexity,
Right.
its ability to speak to us on so many levels,
Yeah.
and continue to challenge and inspire us throughout our lives.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll be back next time with a new set of sources
Looking forward to it.
and a fresh story to explore.
Until then,
Until then, keep those slingshots loaded and your faith strong.